English Literature by Feranabi. What did I learn today? Well, I have good news for you. To now, you're learning what refrain is. Oh yeah! Let's get started. Using as a resource the American dictionary, we can tell the definition of refrain. Refrain is a phrase, verse, or group of verses repeated at intervals throughout a song or a poem, especially at the end of each stanza. Thank you, Holy Dictionary. This means that refrain is a word that we can see many times in a poem. To use an example of worldwide knowledge in history, we can bring out Nelson Mandela in his speech, I Have a Dream, in which this amazing author repeats or makes emphasis to the phrase I have a dream. We can say that authors make this literature element present because they want their audience to pay more attention to what they are repeating, or maybe to make the audience conscious about what they are writing. Imagine you are reading a poem, and the poem doesn't include the element of refrain. What would you answer if your teacher tells you or asks you what was the meaning of the poem or the message? This is going to be difficult because when you have a poem with a refrain, it's easier to know the answer to that question. You'll find it easier to answer about the message of the poem because of the word repeated. Now, talking about poems, like this one right here, poets use this kind of element, refrain, to make some coherence in their poems and to make their poems flow. You can also find this element in songs. Why? Because songs are a kind of poem, and in songs they are refrain. You will better know refrain in songs as the chorus. Refrain is usually found in this order: first verse, then the refrain, then a second verse, and then the other refrain. Now, to make an example and to make clearer what refrain is, I'm going to tell you and show you an example of our book American Literature. We can find refrain in this poem named Homage to My Hips by Lucille Clifton. The refrain in this poem would be what is repeated many times. The word repeated here is hips. Why is it a refrain? Is it a refrain because although it is repeated, it also has a connotation, because the author is making more important the word hips. Impersonally speaking, I would think hips is a connotation for a strong and independent woman. Another example of refrain would be here, in the poem The Napkin Poets. Here, we can say and see that the word napkin is repeated many times. In this poem, I think the author is making reference to what he's really talking about. So now you know what refrain is. Many, many, many times repeated, or something like that. So thank you for your attention and have a nice week and bye.